We all know what it feels like to want something badly. You set a goal, you line up your plans, you take a deep breath, and then you freeze. Or you find yourself delaying, overthinking, giving up halfway. And afterward, you ask, why did I stop myself? This first image paints it perfectly. A person standing at the starting line of a race, but instead of charging forward, they trip. Not over a hurdle, not because someone stopped them, but over their own shoelaces, untied by no one but themselves. Above their head, a tangled brain buzzes with self-defeating thoughts. What if I fail? I'm not ready. What if they see I'm not good enough? This is self-sabotage. Not because you're lazy or unmotivated, but because of a part of your brain believes that saying where you are is safer than moving forward. In this video, we're going to explore the emotional and neurological roots of self-sabotage, what's really going on in your mind and body when you get in your way, and how to begin rewriting that story. Self-sabotage is when your actions, or lack of actions, actively block your own progress, and it follows a very predictable cycle, illustrated in this flowchart. It begins with a goal, something meaningful, applying for a program, setting boundaries, forming a habit, but right after the goal comes fear. This fear can take many forms: fear of failure, of change, of being judged or rejected, and fear activates self-doubt. You start thinking, what if I'm not ready? What if I try and fail? What if success changes me or how others see me? This doubt triggers a behavior, sabotage, which can look like procrastinating, abandoning the goal, or lowering your standards. Then comes the crash, which is guilt. Your regret of not following through. You beat yourself up, and the cycle begins again, often without you realizing it. Notice the image of the shadow pulling the person back. It represents the subconscious, protective part of us that doesn't feel ready to move forward. Even if the goal is good, growth often feels threatening. Self-sabotage, then, isn't about not wanting success. It's about fearing the discomfort that comes with it. Here's the neuroscience behind it. At the center of the image, you'll see the amygdala, a small but powerful part of the brain's limbic system. Its job is to detect threat fast, instinctively. The amygdala evolved to protect us, alerting us to danger before we even have time to think. But here's the problem. It doesn't distinguish between physical threats and emotional discomfort. So when you try something unfamiliar, like setting a boundary, speaking publicly, or applying for something competitive, your amygdala lights up like there's a tiger in the room. It activates a threat response, sending signals to your nervous system to shut down, avoid, or freeze. This is why you feel tension in your chest, a racing heart, or suddenly foggy thinking. Notice a person standing between the safe zone and the growth path. Even though the growth path leads to possibility, their brain is telling them it's dangerous. So the brain chooses to protect. It doesn't care about your dreams, it cares about your survival. This is why understanding your brain is a first step in overcoming sabotage. Because once you realize it's not your fault, it's your wiring, you can start to change it. This visual gets to the heart of why we sabotage things we actually want. Here the same person is split in two. One part is reaching forward, hopeful, driven. The other is pulling back, scared and unsure. Between them, torn paper labeled dreams and beliefs. This is the gap that causes so much emotional pain. Your dreams might tell you, I want to grow, I want to lead, I want to be loved. But your core beliefs, often formed in childhood, might say, I'm not capable, I always mess things up, people will leave if I change. And when beliefs and goals collide, sabotage becomes a coping strategy. Look at the arrows on the left, high standards to perfectionism to procrastination. If it's not perfect, you don't start, or you start but never finish. Below that, wanting connection to fear of rejection to withdrawal. You pull away before others can hurt you. This isn't laziness, it's emotional protection. Self-sabotage isn't random. It's the brain trying to resolve internal conflict by choosing the safest route, even if it means staying small. Now we come to one of the biggest drivers of sabotage, the inner critic. In this image we see familiar voices. You always mess up. You'll never succeed. Who do you think you are? These aren't just thoughts, they're echoes. They echo things we've heard from authority figures, culture, experiences, sometimes even trauma. Over time, we absorb these messages and internalize them as truths. Look at the diagram. It shows how one thought triggers an emotion, which reinforces the belief, which drives the behavior. For example, thought, I'm not ready. Emotion, anxiety. Belief, I never get things right. Behavior, avoidance. That's how a single thought becomes a full-blown pattern. Now look at the cracked mirror. It reflects a distorted self-image. You don't see yourself as you really are. You see yourself through the lens of past pain. And when your goals outgrow this outdated identity, the system breaks down. Your brain resists anything that threatens your current self-concept, which is why healing the way you see yourself is so key to changing how you act. This is where change begins, not with hustle, but with healing. In this toolkit, we have 4 science-backed strategies to interrupt sabotage at its roots. First, self-compassion. It's not fluffy, it's powerful. It teaches your nervous system that you're safe even when you mess up. Second, cognitive reframing. This helps you look at the same situation through different lenses. Instead of I'll fail, you might reframe it as if I fail, I'll learn. Third, journaling. Writing helps you slow down racing thoughts, track patterns, and externalize fears. Fourth, internal family systems. This technique lets you talk to parts like the perfectionist, the inner child, or the saboteur, and give them a new role. To the right, you see someone rewiring their brain. That's what happens when you consistently practice new thoughts and behaviors. Follow the arrows. Catch the thought, bring awareness. Challenge the belief, which means question its origin. Replace the loop, which means install a new pattern. This work is an instant, but every time you choose curiosity over criticism, you take a step toward long-term change. Take a final look at this image, a brain cracked open, not broken, but blooming. Because that's what this work is. Self-sabotage doesn't mean you're flawed. It means you've outgrown old strategies that once protected you, but now hold you back. The fact that you're here, watching, learning, reflecting, that's not sabotage, that's growth. At EQ Bloom, our goal is simple, to help you understand yourself from inside out. To use the science not just as information, but as transformation. If this video helped you untangle even one knot of confusion, consider subscribing. We post weekly content that blends emotional intelligence, mental health, and neuroscience, because healing doesn't happen in isolation. It happens in awareness, in reflection, in slow, gentle rewiring. Thank you for being here. Keep growing, keep noticing, and always remember, the opposite of sabotage isn't self-control, it's self-connection.